As reactions continue to trail the recent comments made by Nigeria's Minister of Works, David Umahi, tensions are beginning to rise across political and media spaces in the country. During a public statement, Umahi reportedly declared that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the kind of Biafra many Igbos have been looking for, insisting that the Southeast should stop agitating because the current administration has allegedly done a lot for the region. But those comments did not go down well with popular Arise TV presenter Rufai who reacted strongly during today's edition of The Morning Show. Rufai cautioned Umahi against reducing the painful history and struggles surrounding Biafra to ordinary politics and political appointments. According to him, millions of lives were lost during the Civil War, and the emotional wounds still remain fresh in many families across the Southeast. Rufai insisted that the Biafra issue is deeply emotional and historical, and cannot simply be solved by appointing a few politicians into government positions or awarding contracts. His passionate reaction has since sparked heated debate online, with many Nigerians sharing different opinions over Umahi's controversial statement. Ladies and gentlemen, this interview is currently generating serious reactions across Nigeria, and you need to hear everything for yourself. Watch the full interview carefully, and when we return, I will break down everything that was said, the hidden political meanings behind the exchange, and why this conversation may become one of the biggest political talking points in the country. But before we go into the video, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any important political updates and trending stories in Nigeria. Now watch the video, and I'll be right back with full analysis.
Tinubu is the Biafra we have been looking for. A man who has integrated the entire Southeast. Yes, sir. A man who has given us juicy appointments. Yes, sir. A man who has given us very important infrastructure. Bola, on your money we shall stand. On your money we shall stand. On your money, Bola, on your money, Bola, on your money we shall stand. Let us see a to other presidential aspirants.
With due respect, Mr. Umahi can support Tinubu any way he wants to support. But I think it's a stretch on the over 3 million people that died, the children that were kwashiorkored, the people that were pained, the 10,000 people that were dying of famine on a daily basis, to now say President Tinubu is the Biafra they are looking for.
No, he says he's the Messiah of Biafra.
He's the Messiah of Biafra, whatever I say.
Inclusion, development,
no, Dr.
progress,
Dr.
development.
He should have just kept Biafra out of it. He can hype Tinubu all he wants. But Biafra is a sore point for Igbo people. I have friends that were child soldiers during the war. Please, let's not go there. It's a sorry part. A lot of them are still angry with General Gowon and what he wrote in the book. And the book he recently released.
Most of those people have not read the book.
No, they have read the book.
Where did they get a copy?
No, they have read the book. And a lot of them are still feeling very hard done. And these are witnesses to history. It didn't happen behind them. I'm saying child soldiers. People that went through the pain. And
like
I think
it
is very sad. No, I'm not talking about Sonny Roche. So you don't even know
was a child soldier.
No, so you don't even know who I was talking about. So that was somebody else. It's not even Sonny Roche. So I think it is very despicable and sad for us just to mitigate the plight of Biafra and what happened there. And you see, Hoji, we have never taken our time to review what happened in Biafra. Atonement for Biafra is just more than no victor, no vanquish. It is deeper than that. Atonement is not in political rhetorics and political positions here and there. No. Just after the war, we had the top political parties ceding their vice presidential position to somebody from the Southeast. We all know how Alex Ekweme, prominent architect, became the vice president of Nigeria. But that's not atonement. Atonement is a full sense of belonging. And that's why a lot of people are agitating and say, an Igbo presidency might just be a step in the way So it's a deeper conversation, and let's not mitigate it on the bounds of policy. You can hype Tinubu, you can say he's your God Almighty, you can lick his foot, you can do anything, but when you start to mention Biafra in that way, it loses me, please.
All right, well, the reactions are mixed.
And Minister Umahi, who is known as a major promoter, supporter, fan of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was speaking in a figurative manner. When he says what Biafrans are looking for, Tinubu has already provided in terms of infrastructure, in terms of, progress in eastern Nigeria. I don't think he's saying Tinubu is a member of MASOB or he's supporting the idea of, Biafra succeeding from Nigeria. He is saying, in my view, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is promoting development in the Southeast. He is saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is promoting inclusion in Southeast Nigeria. He is saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is rehabilitating the Southeast. And it's not the only person who over the weekend, in the course of the presidential primaries, spoke.
One thing is very clear. The issue surrounding Biafra remains one of the most sensitive political discussions in Nigeria today. And anytime any public official makes comments that appear to downplay the emotions attached to the struggle, reactions are always expected. What made Rufai Oseni's reaction very powerful was not just the way he spoke, but the historical context he tried to remind Nigerians about. Many young Nigerians today did not witness the civil war physically, but the memories, stories, and emotional scars have been passed from one generation to another. Families lost loved ones. Communities were destroyed. Millions suffered hunger and displacement during that period. So when Dave Umahi suggested that Tinubu is the Biafra the Igbos are looking for, many people immediately interpret that statement differently. Some saw it as political praise directed at the president. Others believed Umahi was simply trying to encourage national unity and appreciation for federal projects in the Southeast. But there are also many people who felt the statement ignored the deeper emotional and political concerns tied to the agitation. And this was exactly where Rufai Oseni focused his argument. Rufai appeared to be saying that no political appointment, road project, or federal allocation can automatically erase decades of emotional pain and historical grievances. According to him, reducing the matter to politics may anger people who still carry emotional attachment to the Biafra story. One thing that makes Nigerian politics very complicated is how history and emotions always mix together. Sometimes politicians speak from the angle of governance and development, while citizens react from the angle of emotion, identity, and history. That clash is exactly what we saw in this conversation. Now, let us also look at Dave Umahi's political position in all of this. Umahi has remained one of the strongest allies of President Tinubu in the Southeast. Since joining the APC, he has consistently defended the administration and promoted the president's achievements in the region. So from a political standpoint, many people believe Umahi's statement was meant to strengthen support for Tinubu among Southeastern voters. And to be fair, supporters of the administration have repeatedly pointed to ongoing infrastructure projects in the Southeast as evidence that the region is receiving attention from the federal government. Roads, bridges, and federal appointments are often mentioned by APC supporters as signs of inclusion. However, critics argue that development projects alone cannot solve political dissatisfaction or feelings of marginalization. That is where the debate becomes deeper. Many Nigerians online are now asking an important question. Can economic development alone end agitation? Or do people also need emotional reassurance, political trust, justice, and equal representation? That question is at the center of this entire controversy. Another interesting part of Rufai Oseni's reaction was the way he warned politicians against using sensitive historical issues carelessly. In Nigeria, ethnicity and regional identity remain very emotional topics. A single statement from a public figure can quickly create tension if people feel their history is being dismissed. And honestly speaking, This is why public officials are always expected to choose their words carefully, especially on matters connected to the civil war and Biafra. Now let us look at the reaction from social media, because Nigerians did not hold back at all. Some Nigerians praised Rufai for speaking boldly and reminding leaders about the painful history behind the agitation. They argued that the suffering experienced during the civil war should never be trivialized or used for political messaging. Others, however, accused Rufai of overreacting. They argued that Umahi was simply trying to promote unity and encourage Southeastern support for the current administration. According to this group, people should focus more on development and progress rather than reopening old wounds. And this is where Nigeria's political division becomes obvious again. Almost every major political conversation in the country now quickly turns into a battle between supporters and critics of the government. But beyond politics, there is another serious issue hidden inside this debate: the issue of identity and belonging. For many people from the Southeast, conversations about Biafra are not always about separation alone. Sometimes it is about recognition, fairness, inclusion, and the feeling of being respected within the Nigerian system. Whether people agree with the agitation or not, those emotions still exist among many citizens. That is why conversations like this can never be taken lightly. Rufai also touched on something many analysts have discussed for years: the difference between political loyalty and emotional reality. Politicians may align with governments for strategic reasons, but ordinary citizens may still feel differently emotionally. So while some political leaders from the Southeast may support Tinubu strongly, that does not automatically mean every citizen shares the same emotional perspective. And that gap between political leadership and public sentiment is something many governments struggle to manage. Another important thing to notice is how Nigerian television interviews are gradually becoming more confrontational and emotional. Journalists like Rufai have built reputations for asking hard questions and challenging political narratives directly on live television. Supporters see that as courage and accountability. Critics sometimes see it as being too aggressive. But regardless of opinions, moments like this always dominate public conversation because Nigerians enjoy political debates that feel emotional and direct. Let us also remember that the Biafra conversation has evolved over the years. Different generations see it differently. Older people who experienced the Civil War personally often speak from pain and survival. Younger people sometimes discuss it from frustration with unemployment, insecurity, and governance challenges. Politicians, meanwhile, often discuss it from the angle of national unity and political strategy. So when all these different perspectives collide publicly, controversy is almost unavoidable. Now, another question many Nigerians are asking is this: should politicians completely avoid discussing Biafra publicly? The answer is complicated. Some people believe open conversation is necessary for healing and understanding. Others believe careless political statements can deepen division and tension. What everyone seems to agree on, however, is that sensitivity is extremely important. And honestly, that may have been the main point Rufai was trying to make during the interview. He seemed to be saying, regardless of political intentions, leaders must recognize the emotional weight behind certain historical issues. As Nigeria continues moving toward future political battles and possible 2027 alignments, conversations like this may become even more frequent. Politicians will continue trying to win regional support. Media personalities will continue challenging political narratives. Citizens will continue reacting emotionally based on their experiences and beliefs. That is the reality of Nigerian politics today. One thing nobody can deny is that this interview has successfully sparked nationwide conversation. From WhatsApp groups to Facebook pages, from X to YouTube comment sections, Nigerians are debating the issue intensely. And that shows how powerful television discussions can still be in shaping political conversation in Nigeria. At the end of the day, whether one agrees with Dave Umahi or agrees with Rufai the interview has reminded everyone that the wounds of history do not disappear easily. Development projects matter. Political appointments matter. But emotional healing, trust, and national unity also matter deeply. Nigeria remains a country with many histories, many emotions, and many political interests. Managing all of those realities carefully is one of the biggest responsibilities of leaders and public commentators alike. And as this debate continues, Nigerians will keep watching closely to see whether more political leaders react to Rufai Oshne's comments and whether Dave Umahi himself eventually responds to the growing criticism surrounding his statement. This conversation is far from over.